What's up, y'all? This is Ken, and this is what I was listening to in 84, 85, and 86. The only one in Dead End Hip Hop that we're listening to albums in 84, 85, and 86. So let's go on this journey. Go on this journey with me. In my head, I always thought I started listening to hip hop a lot later than I actually ended up listening to hip hop, but I actually started in 84 that I can actually remember. I was 8 years old.
Damn.
Run DMC, of course. Run DMC, the Fat Boys, naturally Houdini's Escape, who came out with something in 83. Egyptian Lover was huge on the radio at the time. Nucleus, Jam on It, Revenge was another one. And yeah, that's it. Those were the primary ones that I was listening to in 84. But it was just crazy because when I re-listened to these, it really took me back down memory lane. And those experiences and moments that I had of just like falling in love with hip hop at such a young age, it was definitely something. It was a moment for me. So then, of course, there's a continuation. So then we move on to 85, and of course, Run DMC returns again. This time with King of Rock, and it's like an elevation. It's like an evolution of what they were doing before, and then you get into, of course, the Fat Boys return with the Fat Boys Are Back. And it's interesting and crazy about the Fat Boys because they were like one of my favorite groups at the time. And they were on TV. So they were in a movie called Delirious. So, you know, just going back in time and seeing that and remembering that and listening to these songs, like I was like, oh crap, I remember these songs. I remember those moments from back in the day. So, and then of course, LL Cool J dropped Radio. So the thing about LL Cool J, he was 16 years old when he dropped Radio. And if you've been following Dead End for a minute, I've talked about in different videos, just LL Cool J and that song Radio and stuff like that. So then you had Mantronics, World Class Wrecking Crew with Dr. Dre, let's see, and Schoolie D. Schoolie D. So Schoolie D is interesting because it was like you could kind of start to hear like the first version of gangster rap, so to speak. So Schoolie D was very, very important to hip hop. And even though I wasn't listening to them, Too Short was around back then. He dropped like I think in 83 or 84 too. So but yeah, you can't find this stuff now. But yeah, 85 was crazy because it just started to take what Run DMC was doing and it just built on it. It just became bigger and better. So then we move on to 86. So 86 was interesting because for whatever reason, I didn't remember as much as I did 84, 85 when I went back and revisited some of these albums. But of course, Houdini Back in Black was like one of their big albums that they had. And of course, Larry Smith was on there, you know, with the production and stuff. But he had Funky Beat, One Love, I'm a Hoe, You Know I'm a Hoe. So that album was huge in 86. Of course, the Fat Boys returned with Big and Beautiful. I don't know if I really remember this one as much as I did some of their earlier stuff. But yeah, of course, they still around. And I heard the tracks, but it didn't stick with me the way some of the other stuff did. In 84 and 85. Run DMC, Raising Hell, huge album for them. And man, I definitely remember these, bro. It's Tricky was on here. Let's see what else we had. Peter Piper, My Adidas, of course. You had My Adidas, Walk This Way. Everybody know that by now. And the impact of Run DMC is, I think, underrated, but that's a discussion for another day. But then there was a couple of one-hit wonders. Whistle was one. Let's see, there was another, LA Dream Teams. I think I may have talked about this on some of the other videos, but I don't know how I had this cassette. But there were like two records. They had Nursery Rhymes and then they had something else, but definitely one-hit wonders. But they didn't do anything else. For whatever reason, I had this thing and I played it over and over again. But yeah, LA Dream Team. I'm probably the only ones that remember that. But the Dream Team is in the house. World Class Wrecking Crew again. Stetson Sonic dropped. Schoolie D came back again with Saturday Night, the album. Just Ice is somebody that probably needs to be mentioned more and more. Back to the old school as well. And Salt and Pepper. So Here comes the first woman rap group, Salt and Pepper. Songs everywhere. You could not get away from Push It, Tramp, et cetera, et cetera. So, man, when they hit, it felt like things were changing. Dougie Fresh, oh my God, Lottie Dottie, We Likes to Party. So that was out. So, and some of these I wasn't buying these things. You were hearing these things on the radio, but they were very memorable. And of course, the Beastie Boys. You know, my neighbor had the Beastie Boys album, and you know, we would go over there and just play it, and we would just be listening to it and just memorizing the rhymes and stuff like that. But License to Ill dropped in '86. So, but yeah, that was it. Those were the things that were hitting on my radar in '86. So, while there were more albums dropping, it did feel like none of them really kind of broke through. It was just like people just throwing stuff out. But the stars that were out, the ones that were established, those are the ones that got around. But the last one, I told you guys I was going to come back to it. This was crazy because I have been looking for this song for years and I could never find the artist. Bobby Jimmy and the Critters. He did a parody of the song Rumor by Timex Club, and it was called Roaches. This song was played on the radio, y'all, and it was hilarious. I loved it. I think this is actually the first iteration of parody rap. This guy went on to become a radio personality by the name of Russ Parr. I'll leave it there, but man, going back and revisiting these albums, these years, it did it for me. Being able to find that and was like, yo, it just took me down memory lane. So, yep, that's it. 84, 85, 86. Those are the albums and artists that I was listening to.